Joining me now, though, my good friend Paul Conway. Paul's with us, and Paul is, it's good to have him on today. Paul is the president of the American Association of Kidney Patients, AAKP. Paul, thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you very much, John, and good morning to you. Your last segment was hilarious, and I liked your choice of music.
It said the Bob Dylan was perfect after that segment. It was just perfect, Tyler. Good job. But it is Bob Dylan Day, so it kind of fit in. And a lot of my audience chafes at Bob Dylan, like it's about 15%. 85% get mad when I play it, but you know, I'm the host of the show, so like deal with it, right?
Hey, it keeps the pulse up, right?
I love Bob. I'm a Bob Dylan fan, right? So, you know, it ages me though, because a little bit too old for this. Anyway, look, I want to talk about the Association of Kidney Patients. In 2019, President Trump issued an executive order on advancing American kidney health that was really critical. How did this order on kidney health and innovation from President Trump come about? And how did the administration involve patients in crafting it?
Sure. So this is a really a terrific story for kidney care in the United States. And just for context, there are two bookends of historic policy that cover kidney care in the United States right now. A lot of folks out there might know people that are on dialysis or who are waiting on getting a kidney transplant or on the or living with a kidney transplant. All of that was made possible by the activism of kidney patients and doctors in the late 60s and 70s. It led to policy changes in the Congress and legislation that President Richard Nixon signed. It created that opportunity and that program for every American. And so we went for 50 years with kidney treatments in the United States that were pretty status quo. In 2019, after closely engaging patients from across the board, the president, the White House team, and Secretary Azar at HHS developed an executive order that basically said, hey, look, we've had decades of successful kidney care. Let's be bold and take care upstream, stop reacting to disease when it progresses to the point of organ failure. Let's look at new organs, look at xenotransplantation, artificial organs, and most importantly, let's look at new therapies that can actually prevent kidney failure in the United States. It was a very bold vision. And so in that sense, it was a policy that was informed by the life experiences of patients and doctors, but literally it came about, John, by getting patients at the table, talking to the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Azar, and talking to White House staff. And a lot of these folks that were in the Trump administration at the time had their own family stories. And they knew that status quo was not good enough. Let me tell you what status quo is. If you're on dialysis, you've got a 50% chance of death within 5 years. It's not really a success story. It was 50 years ago, but in today's world, it's not. And so, you know, the president created this policy and it has jump-started tremendous innovation in the field of kidney medicine.
Paul Conway with us. Paul is been in the field for a long time. He has kidney failure himself, so he talks with experience. He's on a dialysis now, and Paul's the president of the American Association of Kidney Patients, AAKP is the acronym. How relevant is President Trump's executive order in his second term with Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr., with CMS Administrator, my friend Dr. Oz, FDA Commissioner Marty McCary? How relevant is that now, Paul?
It's highly relevant. Let me tell you something. You have a team now that's at HHS and across the HHS agencies that have their own personal life experiences with kidney failure. Let me mention one thing here. On September 18th, Secretary Kennedy gave a press conference about reforms that are being done in the world of transplant medicine. And basically what the administration is doing for the first time in history is they're holding accountable organ donation and organ procurement agencies. But in this press conference, within the first 5 minutes at the microphone, Secretary Kennedy talked about how in his own family, through the death of a nephew, 2 kidneys were donated and saved 2 lives. And as I mentioned to you, John, before, you can have 100 briefing books and try to brief somebody on what this issue is. Secretary Kennedy knew it personally. And then with Dr. Oz, given his background, he knows this issue really well. And Dr. Makari, coming out of Johns Hopkins, they knew it well. In the first 10 or 15 minutes of this press conference, it was a textbook lesson on why we need to change, why we need more citizen-centered healthcare in the United States and kidney care, and most importantly, why there's an opportunity to make America healthy by moving upstream in kidney care and saving more lives. As a patient, it was inspiring. As somebody who's been involved in policy, the thing that I thought to myself is you've got an entire team here that can now implement and execute a policy that was envisioned and articulated 6 years ago. And for that connectivity, I think great credit goes to the president and to the White House that we have an opportunity now to get more results and save more lives for patients. It's a tremendous opportunity.
Listen, you talk from experience. I just want my audience to know we're with Paul Conway. He's the president of the kidney organization we talked about. He's a 48-year kidney patient. He has lived the past 28 years with a kidney transplant. Prior to that, he lived for 36 months on home dialysis while working a full-time job. He's taken almost 200,000 pills since his 1997 kidney transplant to maintain it. So he knows a little bit about this. Paul, how would you characterize AAKP's history and impact as a grassroots organization for kidney health?
Thanks, John. It's kind of a neat story. Basically, back in 1969, you had 6 patients who were getting dialysis in the bottom of a hospital, Kings County Hospital up in New York. And, at that point in time, it was not a common type of thing to get. They knew they were fortunate. Their lives were being saved. They had a lot of people that were praying for them. And their goal was to try to extend this opportunity to save life to more Americans, to every American with kidney failure. If they're a professor, a truck driver, whatever, to them, what mattered was saving a life. And if you saved a life through dialysis, you created an opportunity for somebody to get a transplant. They could live long enough to get a transplant. So what these patients did is they started writing newsletters. Literally in our archives, they started typing up newspapers, sending them around to hospitals, asking other patients to join. Well, within 4 years, John, they were able to get legislation, bipartisan legislation, through the Congress, and the health advisor to the president at the budget office at that point was a aspiring government executive out of California named Caspar Weinberger. He recommended that the president sign it, and he did. And in terms of the essence of our organization, it is patient-centered from day one. And it's been inspiring. We're all volunteers on the board. We have a small professional staff, but we always make certain that everything that we do is we bring a patient voice to national policy discussions. We hold elected leaders accountable. We're nonpartisan. We're bipartisan in our relationships, but we're not afraid to call balls and strikes. And we do it with a very large voice. And it's a pure pleasure to hold things accountable and to celebrate successes when they happen. There are a lot of opportunities to save lives, and there are some remaining barriers that are preventing us from fully seeing the president's executive order of 2019 realized. And that's
Let's
those are on our target.
Let's get to the barriers in 1 second. But first, how do you honestly, it's a patient-focused organization. How do you keep it that way when you know that big medicine, big everything, big establishment medical is going to try to take over the thinking of your organization? How do you insulate yourself from that? If I'm making sense at all.
No, you're making perfect sense, John. What you're talking about is making certain that the voice of citizens and patients are not obstructed by self-appointed experts. And let me tell you something. It's not easy all the time, but we're unafraid. So we've been independent since the start. And, there are times, John, when we get a lot of pressure because, medical societies, they have a certain policy agenda in it. It cascades across the profession at times. Most of the time, so we're good allies with our kidney doctors. But, sometimes you have to say, hey, wait a second. It might be comfortable for you folks to wait another 5 years for Medicare or for the FDA to make a decision. But I know I'm going to lose X number of friends and X number of patient members over the next 5 years if we don't take action now. And that sense of impatience and that sense of urgency often separates us from the medical establishment. It did just recently. There's a big issue that in the Biden administration for the past 4 years, we asked the United States Preventative Services Task Force, this kind of big group of academic medical specialists that make recommendations on screening, for breast cancer
Right.
and prostate cancer. We asked them to make a recommendation for the past 20 years on kidney disease, and they have refused to do so. Well, Secretary Kennedy came out and talked about it a little bit in June that he might make some changes, and you'd think the sky was falling. The American Medical Association came out. They sent a letter to the secretary with 150 organizations on it. We looked at this thing and we said, wait a second. If they haven't recommended saving more lives for the past 20 years, we think the secretary could have better results just taking 10 kidney patients at random, putting them at his conference table and coming up with a recommendation. So we sent him a letter saying that. And you would think this guy fell on us because the AMA and other folks were, all taking big encumbrance to this thing that we had done this letter. And we were like, sometimes patients stand up and say pound sand, and that's not a bad thing. It means you save lives. So I hope I answered your question on that.
No, look, it's a great thing. I mean, it's got to be patient-centered. And every time we try to do something patient-centered, big money, big pharma, big medicine, big something gets involved right in the middle of it. And the establishment moneyed interest funded by Wall Street basically changed the whole dynamics of it and changed the agenda. You guys are fighting that. You talked about barriers. I'm going to have to extend your Tyler a bit. You're talking about barriers. Okay, what are some of the barriers now to what President Trump did in 2019? And how do we clear them out? Barriers, and then next step.
You sound like Reagan clearing brush. and so let me tell you, so this vision in 2019 that the president put in an executive order talked about taking care upstream. The most amazing thing is since 2016, 2017, in that period of time, there have been massive innovations that have happened in the areas of drugs and devices that help prevent disease from progressing to organ failure. And one of the big issues that kidney patients face before they get on dialysis, before they get a transplant, is high phosphorus. If your kidneys fail, phosphorus in the blood increases. The reason why that's critical is it can cause a heart attack, it can cause a stroke, harden your arteries, or calcify your organs. I've lived this. It's tough. And this one particular innovation that has come up, CMS, under the prior administration, the Biden administration, decided to stick it in this bundled payment system, which is basically, they pay for process. They don't necessarily pay for result. That's about to change. But a lot of different groups objected to that. We objected to it. The Government Accountability Office objected to it. And the reason why is we thought it would limit patient access. You have to maintain your phosphorus. Otherwise, it can jeopardize your transplant readiness. But the wise minds at CMS, trying to simply control costs and not improve patient life, decided to stick it into this bundled payment system. Well, what happened was, over the past 9 months, doctors and clinicians have not been able to access the medicine or patients. And instead of costing more money, which CMS thought it would, it has actually resulted in less spending because there are less people getting their phosphorus managed. So from our perspective is, it's a policy barrier. The president had this clear vision of keep people healthy. Let's get them transplanted. Let's not create adverse incidents like more heart issues. And then you have an agency that lacks leadership in the prior administration, and the agency officials go ahead and decide to interpret it the way they want. And that's one of those things where you take a chainsaw to the brush and you say, something, let's clear that out. Let's make you, as the civil servant, accountable for the outcomes of the policy you're recommending. And that's exactly where we're going with this. We want to hold people accountable for the decisions that they made that conflict with President Trump's 2019 executive order. If you're costing Americans more money and you're making people sicker and your policy is inconsistent, you should be held accountable. We're confident Dr. Oz will do that.
So Dr. Oz is really going to be the key person here in your blueprint to go forward, right?
Yeah, he is. The CMS administrator is one of the most powerful people to help execute the president's vision. And in this regard, Dr. Oz, based on his prior experience as a surgeon and working so closely with patient groups throughout his career, we're very confident that he'll be able to take a look at the bigger picture here and say what's right by patients And when we talk about patients, there's no, there's this false vision sometimes that is put out by folks saying that, hey, there's the patient interest versus the taxpayer interest. No, if you keep patients healthy enough, you save the taxpayers money. But sometimes at CMS, they forget that 4 levels down from the administrator. We think Dr. Oz will grab CMS and kind of shake it up, as he's been doing, and we'll make certain that the executive order is what the primary touchstone is for all policy that comes out of CMS.
Listen, Paul, you have no bigger ally in CMS than Dr. Mehmet Oz. I know him very well. I consider him to be one of my best friends. He's a brilliant doctor. His bedside care is awesome. He really takes this job seriously. Every day he gets up, he tells me trying to make a difference in people's lives, as all doctors do. So, like he said to me the last time I talked to him, it's no different than when my patients came in, only this is bigger, right? But every day he's trying to make a difference. He's going to be a tremendous ally, Paul, for what you guys are trying to do. And it's just, we have to get, I mean, Trump's executive order, the president's executive order in 2019 was spot on. He surrounded himself now with the right people. RFK Jr., the head of the head of CMS, Dr. Oz, obviously, and others. So let's get this thing forward. If there was one thing you need done immediately, what is it? And then we have to go.
Sure. The one thing I would encourage folks to do is, if you have anybody in your family that has kidney disease, if you have diabetes, if you're overweight, you have hypertension, learn more about the disease. All of our information is free. You can come online at aakp.org. You can follow us on social media, learn about the disease, ask your doctor questions, and remember this: if it's to be, it's up to me. You have to be proactive in your care and ask for guidance on how to manage kidney disease. You do not want to end up with kidney failure. John, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to your audience and talk to you especially.
Paul, thank you. I've enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and thank you. I hope many people in my audience have as well. And we'll have you on again and hopefully get this in front of the powers to be. And I know that Dr. Oz is, I mean, he's all about preventative medicine, and so is RFK Jr. That's why they're there. So,
absolutely.
And with all the healthcare talk coming up, preventative medicine's the best thing we could possibly do. Paul, thank you. Thanks for being with us.
John, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Again, people want to follow your organization, what was it?
It's aakp.org. And then the other thing, John, folks can find us on X, and they can find us on Facebook at Kidney Patients with an S on it, or at Kidney Patient with just a T. And put in any of those handles, you'll find us on that. We have a pretty big footprint online.
All right, Paul. Thank you for your time, and thanks for being with us today. aakp.org. We're going to be right back with your calls. 888-480-JOHN. Stay with us.